Hello and welcome to yet another interesting time in Information Technology class. My name is Gogo Ella Thompson, and in today's lesson, we will be looking at an interesting topic titled Computer Software under the theme Basic Computer Operations and Concepts. In this lesson, we will be looking at the components of the computer which we cannot touch, but without which we cannot use the computer. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to do a few things. First, you should be able to define software. Next, you should be able to state the two types of software. And finally, you should be able to give examples of each type of software. So let's proceed with the lesson. Sure, you can use the computer for anything. Now, generally, the computer is made up of two components, and they are the hardware component and the software component. The hardware component is the physical part of the computer that we can see and touch. For example, the keyboard, the mouse, the system unit, the monitor, and so any part of the computer you can see and touch is the hardware component. On the other hand, we have the software. The software is a set of instructions, which are also called programs, that are used to operate the computer. So these software are used to run the computer hardware. Another thing to note about software is that they cannot be seen and touched. We don't touch them, we only use them. So in this lesson, our focus is on software. So let's find out more about software. Now, the computer does not have a mind of its own. It carries out different tasks based on instructions. And these instructions, like I earlier said, are called programs. So you see, a software is a set of instructions or programs that are used to operate a computer. Most software also include some form of documentations. And these programs and software are written by people called computer programmers or software developers. Different types of software exist for different purposes, and so end users can use them to carry out different tasks. An end user is a person who uses a computer. There are two types of software. One is the system software, and the other is the application software. Key things to note about these two types of software are: the system software gives attention to the computer system. As we proceed, you will find out how. And then the application software gives attention to the end user. As we progress in the lesson, you will also find out why. Let's begin with the system software. What is a system software? A system software is a set of instructions or programs that is used to run the computer hardware. There are different examples of system software. Some examples are the operating system, utility software, and device drivers. Now, let's look at each of these system software and what they do for the computer system. So the first we have on our list here is the operating system, which is abbreviated as OS. The operating system is a system software that manages the computer hardware as well as other computer applications. The operating system provides an interface, which is also called an environment, where the end user can interact with the computer. When you see a computer that does not have an operating system, this is the only thing you can do with it. This is the only place you can stop. You cannot do anything with that computer. Since there is no operating system, there will be no environment where the end user can interact with a computer, and such a computer cannot be used. There are several examples of operating system, and they each have their unique environments. Let's have a look at some of them. Some examples of operating systems are the DIX operating system. As you can see, the environment is text-based. This was the first operating system that was invented. People interacted with the computers using only text. And then, with further developments, more operating systems were invented. These operating systems were not text-based like this operating system. This operating system had a graphic user interface, GUI, graphic user interface. And some examples of operating systems that have the GUI feature are the Windows operating system. You can see there are graphics and icons with which you can interact with the computer. Another example is the Mac operating system. Another example is the Linux operating system. There are several other examples of operating systems. These are just a few. So let's proceed by looking at the next example of system software, which is device driver. Device drivers are system software that allow the operating system communicate with hardware devices. Now, what does this mean? Remember, we said that the operating system manages the computer hardware and other applications. After installing the operating system, it is important to install your device drivers so that whenever you connect any device, the computer will be able to recognize it and the user will be able to use it. So, the device drivers help the computer to identify the configuration and specification of hardware devices that are connected to the computer. And usually, immediately after installing your operating system, the next software to install is the device driver. And the final example of system software we'll be looking at is the utility software. Utility software are system software that are used to analyze, configure, and optimize a computer. Utility software help boost the performance of computers, and some examples of utility software are disk defragmenters, antivirus software, backup software, disk cleaners, and so on. So from your control panel, under administrative tools, you will see some of these utility software that can be used to optimize your computer. So you see, system software give attention to the computer. The next set of computer software we'll be looking at is the application software. The application software. The application software is a set of instructions or programs that end users make use of in carrying out different tasks with the computer. Now think, what have you ever done with a computer? Was it to watch movies, to type your assignments, to design graphics, to surf the web? Anything you've ever used the computer for, I'm sure you used an application software. So some examples of application software are Microsoft Word, Kingsoft, CorelDRAW, Photoshop, Audacity, Audition, Candy Crush, Scrabble, Word Cookies. Now, just think of anything you can use the computer for, and I'm sure there's an application software to help you carry out that task. And with this, we've come to the end of this lesson. But before we leave, let's have a quick summary. First, we learned that the parts of the computer we can see and touch are called hardware. Next, we learned that the parts of the computer we cannot touch are called software, and they are made up of instructions and programs. We also learned that the two types of software are system software and application software. Going on, we learned that the system software is a set of instructions or programs used to run a computer's hardware. And some examples are operating system, utility software, and device driver. Finally, we learned that software that are used by end users to carry out different tasks with the computer are known as application software, and some examples are Microsoft Word, Candy Crush, and CorelDRAW. Now, let's try out some exercises. Question 1. Software is made up of instructions called, here are the options: A. Applications, B. End user, C. Programs, D. System. And the correct answer is C. Programs. Let's try out one more. There are dash types of software. Here are the options: A. 1, B. 2, C. 3, D. 4. The correct answer is B. There are two types of software. I'm sure you now know the importance of computer software, and you can use some of this software to carry out different tasks and optimize your computer. Till meeting our next lesson. Bye-bye.